Welcome back from spring break, everybody. As you can see, we're not in our classroom. We're actually just in my kitchen, but we're gonna make this work. And I'm gonna give you my presentation. So my title of my presentation today, A Case for a Comma. And it's gonna be just about a little simple thing that we can each do that'll improve our writing. So at the beginning of this, I want to do a little activity. I want everybody to write a simple list. And I want to start off with this sentence. So, I went to the grocery store and got. And then to follow out with a simple list of some things you might get from a grocery store. So I'm going to give you about 10 seconds to write down some ideas, and then we're going to talk about the different ways you write it down. All right, perfect. Pencils down, everybody. Let's keep going. So here are two ways you could have written your list. I went to the grocery store and got milk, eggs, and bread, or I went to the grocery store and got milk, eggs, and bread. Extremely similar, except for one small little detail, right here. A second comma. This is called the Oxford comma. It goes in a list before the and or the or in the sentence. And what it does, it just breaks it apart a little bit more. And not everybody uses it. There's a large debate within the community whether or not it actually is important or not. A lot of people like journalism or people who produce things on paper don't like to use it because it takes up a lot of space on the page that they could use to fit more words. Whereas other people, like lawmakers and stuff, say it is important because it can add a little bit more clarity sometimes in more situations. But there's a big debate between whether or not we should use it. But I'm going to give you some cases where it does add more clarity. So here's a sentence I wrote. It says, my role models are my parents, Oprah, and Martin Luther King. So there's two ways this sentence can be interpreted. A wrong way that I didn't mean to say, and a correct way. So the wrong way would be assuming this sentence says, my parents are Oprah and Martin Luther King, and they're my role models, which isn't true. What I was trying to say is that I have 4 role models. I have my parents, both my parents are my role models, Oprah's my role model, and Martin Luther King is my role model. And adding that second comma there, that Oxford comma, would add a little bit more clarity in my sentence so that you'll be able to understand it better. But there are a lot of cases like this, and they're not all exactly the same. But misinterpreting these little sentences can cost companies a lot of problems. In one case, it cost the company millions. And we're going to talk about a court case in 2017. I was about that. So, in 2017, there was a court case between O'Connor and Oakhurst Dairy. What had happened was the owners of the dairy had misinterpreted a law stating who should receive overtime pay when they were working, whereas some of the workers weren't receiving overtime and they felt they should have. And so it went to court. And in the end, the company lost and they had to pay compensation for $5 million to these workers. These workers were the drivers for the company. At the end of this, so this is the law that was written, and at the end of the law, this bolded statement says that workers who are packing for shipment or distribution of food items should receive overtime pay when they're doing some activities. What the company understood was that packing for shipment and distribution was one action. That it was, these two were connected, whereas the workers, the drivers, weren't being included because they were not packing, but they were distributing, and so they felt they should be included. But it could be kind of interpreted either way. And so what happened is the case went to court, and before a jury, the jury had to say, it could be reasonably interpreted as this is the shipment and distribution of. So it's 2 different actions, and because of that, the company lost the case. So it was a whole case over semantics. Was that saying one action or 2? And because of that confusion, problems arose. And we don't want to have that confusion. We want to try to fix that problem ourselves. So as a result of this court case, Maine had to rewrite the law to cause less confusion for future companies. So they changed it, not just by adding the Oxford comma, but by really fixing it by changing, adding semicolons and rearranging it so it made more sense for the first time being read. But how does this No, include us. Are we going to go to court? Maybe, hopefully not. But in business communication, we should always try to include the Oxford comma. For the first example with Oprah and Martin Luther King, it adds clarity and speeds up work. Having someone understand what you communicated the first time is very effective in business and will help you in your endeavors. And second, if maybe you're an HR individual and you write down some work for the company and you don't include that, and a worker misinterprets that, and they take you to court, you could lose money for your company by that misinterpretation. So making sure it's written right the first time, especially in like legal documents, is quite important for companies. Even though we're at home, in the comments on this video, feel free to write questions. I'll try to answer them. And have a great day. Safe quarantine.